Welcome to the Inner Beacon. I am your host, Marisa. I'm a Canadian girl mama of two, business owner, flight attendant, and a certified self-love coach. You are in the right place if you are ready to lead your life from within, to reconnect with your intuition, trust yourself deeply, and reclaim your power. My goal and intention here is to inspire and empower you. And for fun, I might even add some flight attendant content and travel tips. And I'm so glad you're here. So let's dive into today's episode. All right, welcome back to the Inner Purity Alchemy Methods series. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, awareness, I want to gently nudge you to go back and start there because everything we're doing today builds on that foundation. But if you're here and you're ready, I'm so glad that you showed up again. Because today we're going into the part of the work that most people avoid, and also the part that sets you the most free. Today we're going to talk about release. And I want to say something right up front. This is not the fun, aesthetically pleasing part of the self-love journey. It's not the vision boards and the morning routines. Release is the part where you actually sit with what hurts and where you look at what you've been carrying, where you finally say, this is not mine to hold anymore. It is hard, and it is the most important thing that you will ever do, because once you move past that, then you can hold, you can receive, you can honestly it just feels relieving. You don't have to So let's start with what we're even talking about here. What is release? What does that mean? We are releasing the stories, the beliefs, the emotional weight, the version of yourself that was created in response to pain, the one that learned to shrink, to people please, to push feelings down, to stay small, or to stay safe. We're releasing old wounds that have been living in your body, showing up as anxiety, as numbness, as anger that seems to come out of nowhere, and as low grade sadness you can't quite name. We are releasing the identities that were never really yours. The good girl, the strong one, the one who holds it all together, the one who never asks for help. And yes, we are releasing the resentment, the grief, the guilt, the shame, and sometimes the hardest one of all is the version of yourself you thought you were supposed to be by now. That's what release looks like. And I know that might sound heavy, but I want you to hear this clearly. You don't have to carry any of it forever. You were not designed to carry it forever. And putting it down is not a weakness. It is the bravest thing that you will ever do. Before we talk about how to release, I think it's important to understand why we hold on to it in the first place. Because we don't hold on because we're broken. We hold on because at some point it kept us safe. The protective armor we built in our childhood, the people pleasing, the emotional shutting down, the hypervigilance. Those were brilliant adaptations. They helped us survive difficult environments, difficult relationships, difficult moments. Your nervous system learned, if I feel this, it's dangerous. If I express this, I'll be rejected. If I take up too much space, something bad will happen. So we learned to suppress, to push down, to move on quickly, and to quote unquote stay strong. And that worked until it didn't. Because here's what happens when we keep suppressing. The body doesn't forget. Emotions are energy in motion, and energy that isn't allowed to move gets stored. It shows up later as anxiety, as burnout, as physical symptoms, as emotional triggers that seem disproportionate to the moment. And you know that feeling when someone says something small and you have this huge reaction, and part of you is like, why did I even react like that? That comes from that stored emotion finding its exit and carrying that weight. That weight has a real cost. It costs us our joy, our clarity, our capacity to be present, our ability to receive. It keeps us tied energetically, emotionally to the very thing that hurts us, actually. And so while holding on once kept us safe, continuing to hold on it is actually what's keeping you stuck. So what we resist persists, and what we allow transforms. I have to talk about forgiveness here as well, because forgiveness is one of the biggest and most misunderstood pieces of the release stage. And I want to be really clear about what forgiveness is and isn't. Forgiveness is not saying what happened was okay. It is not excusing someone else's behavior. It is not pretending the hurt didn't happen. And it is absolutely not something that you have to do before you are ready. Forgiveness is choosing to put down the weight of what happened so that it stops living in your body. It is releasing your emotional attachment to the story, not erasing the story, but taking back the power. Forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. And sometimes, I really want you to hear this, the hardest person to forgive is yourself. For the choices that you made when you didn't know better. For the time that you spent in the wrong relationship. For the years that you spent dimming your light. For all the times you didn't choose yourself. Give yourself grace. You were doing the best that you could with what you had at the time. And the fact that you're here now doing this work, that is everything. So let's get into what it actually looks like in the practice. Tool 1, I want you to feel it to heal it. The first step in releasing any emotion is simply allowing it to be felt. This sounds simple, and it is simultaneously the hardest thing for the most of us to do because we've been conditioned to avoid the discomfort or to suppress it. But when an emotion comes up, sadness, grief, anger, shame, instead of pushing it down or distracting yourself, I want you to try this. Place your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath and just say the feeling. Acknowledge it. Tell it, I see you, I hear you, and you're allowed to be here. That's it. You're not wallowing. You're not going to live there forever. You are simply giving the feeling permission to move through instead of setting up permanent residence. Emotions are energy in motion. They need to move. And when you let them, they do. And on the other side of that feeling is almost a relief, lightness, space. You feel free. Tool number 2, write it out and let it go. This is one of my favorites, and it works. Get a piece of paper and just write everything you've been holding on, everything you're angry about, everything you haven't said, every guilt, every resentment, everything you've been protecting yourself from feeling. Just word vomit it all onto a page. And then, when you feel like you've emptied it out, burn it. I call it the bitch and burn. Or if burning isn't practical for you, write it on a toilet paper and flush it. I know that sounds a little funny, but I generally believe in the energetics of it. You are watching it go. You are completing the release physically and not just mentally. And then tool 3, the body release. We hold emotions in our body. in our shoulders, our chests, our gut, our jaw. So moving your body is one of the most direct ways to release stored energy. This doesn't have to be intense. It can be a walk, a yoga flow, a dance party in your kitchen with your kids. Yes, I do that regularly. And yes, it works every single time. Even stretching, even crying in the shower. Give your body permission to release what your mind has been trying to manage all alone. Tool number 4, and we go through this in deeper form, obviously, in my Inner Purity Alchemy Sanctuary space. Even when the feeling is uncomfortable, we use EFT tapping. I want you to practice saying to yourself, even though I'm carrying this, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though this is hard, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. You are not affirming that everything is fine. You are affirming that you are worthy of love, even while you're in the mess. And you're giving it a voice. You're acknowledging it. And that is what creates safety for a deeper release. If you want to learn more about what EFT tapping and tapping affirmations are, I have a free EFT vault in my school community, the Inner Purity Sanctuary, and it's completely free to enter, and you can go and play around with that. But I want to paint a picture for you of what's on the other side of this, because when you're in the middle of the release stage, it can feel like it's never going to end. And I want you to have something to hold on to. When you release what you've been carrying, truly release it, not just push it down again, something remarkable happens. There's a lightness, a kind of spaciousness in your chest that you didn't realize was missing. The decisions become clearer because you're no longer making them from a place of fear or old pain. Your nervous system starts to settle. You stop reacting from your wounds and start responding from your wholeness. You also, and this is beautiful, but you also start to see other people's behaviors differently. You stop taking everything personally because you understand that hurt people hurt people. Their actions say more about where they are than who you are. And the relationship you have with yourself, it changes completely. Because every time you turn toward yourself instead of away, every time you say, I'm going to feel this instead of numb this, you are building trust with yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of everything. Release is not the end. It's actually the beginning of something. It's what creates the space to receive. That is part 2 of this Inner Purity Alchemy Method, which is the release stage, part 2 of 3. I want to leave you with a gentle reminder. This work is not linear. You might release something today and find it knocking again in a week. That doesn't mean you failed. That means you are human. Healing is like an onion, and there are layers, and each layer that you work through opens you up to a deeper freedom. So be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself permission to feel without fixing, to release without rushing. And here are some journal prompts for the week. Take them with you from this session here, and you can feel free to pause this, grab a notebook, write them down. First one is, what have I been holding on to that I'm ready to put down? What story about myself or my past has been keeping me small? What do I need to forgive in someone else or in myself? And finally, what would my life look and feel like if I was no longer carrying this weight? Sit with those, let them work on you. In the next episode, we'll be talking about part 3, which is the receipt. And honestly, it's my favorite. Because after all the awareness work and all the release work, we get to talk about what it means to actually step into your power, to trust yourself again, to become the version of yourself you've been working towards. I'm so excited. Thank you for being here. See you on the next one.
Thank you for spending this time with me here on the Inner Beacon. If you're not already following me, you can find me on Instagram at iammarisa.xo. And if this episode resonates, spread the love like you would Nutella by sharing this podcast and tagging me so that I can personally thank you. And if you are feeling extra loving, leaving a review helps light up another beautiful soul and supports the growth of this space. I am so glad you're here. I'll meet you on the next episode.